Hey everybody, this is Miss Sarah from Village Kids at FBC at the Village, and this week we are talking about the Sermon on the Mount in our Life App group material. That's what you would find on the Family Resources page at fbcatthevillage.com. So we have been talking for the past few weeks about how Jesus performed miracles. This was right after he started his ministry when he was around 30 years old, and he healed people and met their physical needs, and he was showing that it was important for us to meet other people's physical needs. But he didn't only care about their physical needs, he cared about spiritual needs as well. And so in one of his first sermons, called the Sermon on the Mount, he talked about some things that were totally different than what people had heard or seen or been exemplified by the religious leaders in that time. And it totally blew their mind. So in a way, God's kingdom and what Jesus was teaching was totally backward from what the world thinks that a kingdom should be or that humans should be. So the religious leaders back then thought that the key to being with God was obeying all the rules that he had given in the Old Testament. They even added some of their own rules too. They thought if they looked special and holy, then they could earn God's love. But Jesus was teaching the opposite. So I have a cute little cup here. This was my granny's, and I have it at home on the top of our cabinets. There's like some space to display some things. So this has been sitting up on the top of our cabinets for a long time. So on the outside, it looks really shiny and pretty. And yeah, it's all fancy and stuff. But inside, if you look, it's disgusting. It's dingy. I would never drink out of this thing. Okay. I think it might be for cream or something for your tea, but it's gross inside, okay? Looks beautiful on the outside. It is disgusting inside. So that is what Jesus was addressing, that the people had been so focused on how they looked on the outside. If they looked righteous, if they looked holy, if they looked like they were following all the rules, that wasn't most important to Jesus. What's most important was on the inside, and that they addressed those things, because God wants us changed on the inside so that what overflows from us is shown on the outside. It's about glorifying God, not glorifying ourselves. So the whole Sermon on the Mount was talking about what God cares about on the inside. He said things like, blessed are the poor, and blessed are the humble, and blessed are the meek, and those that put others first will inherit the kingdom of heaven. He talked about all kinds of things that talked about putting other people first, putting yourself last, putting God first and yourself last. He talked about how we're supposed to be different from all the rest of the world, that we're to be salt and light. That's what my shirt says, that we're supposed to be salt and light in a dark world. And he went into detail about these things more than I'm able to today. And the Sermon on the Mount was very long, but that's because he had a lot to say about what mattered. And we can know what God thinks matters because of what Jesus taught. So we usually pay attention to what's on the outside, right? That's kind of what we first, it's what we first see, and it's what we first think about, and what we first think, are others judging us based on what we look like on the outside? But Jesus was teaching that what's on the inside is just as important, if not more. God doesn't want us to do good things to glorify ourselves, but to glorify him. And without God's help, we could never honor God with our lives. But thankfully, God sent us help, and that's Jesus. He is the example that we are to follow. God is the person we're supposed to love with all of our heart and our soul and our mind and our strength. And when we do that, the good works overflow from our inside to the outside to show the world who God is. Jesus taught us how to live so we can live more like him. I hope that helps you out as you're learning more about the Beatitudes and salt and light and the Sermon on the Mount. And if you have any questions about these things, you can contact me, talk to your parents, and I would love to see you and hear from you soon. Hope you have a great week.